What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Chat Sports. I'm here with the New York Giants report. And before the Giants can win a Super Bowl, win their conference, win their division, they got to find out what 53 guys are going to be representing the New York Giants in 2019. I'm your host, Nick Diaz here. Make sure you're a subscriber to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. And let's see who we are projecting to be on the 53-man roster for the New York Giants. Kicking us off, baby, the quarterback position. We got the Giants keeping 3 quarterbacks this year. It's going to be none other than Eli Manning, Daniel Jones, and surprisingly, Kyle Lauletta is going to miss the cut, and I think Alex Tanney is going to be the 3rd string quarterback for the New York Giants. Let's pull up Eli Manning. This guy, super durable. I've kind of been soured on Eli Manning. He's been great for the New York Giants. Stability at the most important position in the National Football League. Hell, even in all sports, I think the quarterback is the most important position. Considering he's never been hurt, he's going to be on a short leash because of the pressure put on by one Daniel Jones, the number 6 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the quarterback from Duke. 25 of 30 in the preseason. Daniel Jones is coming. It is Daniel Jones season. Danny Dimes, my Daniel, all that fun stuff. I think we're definitely going to see Daniel Jones. Ultimately, the goal for the New York Giants in 2019 is this. Copy the mold that the New York Jets did last year. What did the Jets do? They threw out Sam Darnold, and now he went through the growing pains, missed some time with injury, but the Jets going into 2019 know one thing for certain. We don't need to address the quarterback position for the foreseeable future because of Sam Darnold. That's what the New York Giants need to do with Daniel Jones. So Daniel Jones has played exceptionally well in the preseason, looks apart, and most importantly, he has put the pressure on the Giants organization because the fan base is tired of seeing 3rd and 8s being checked down to backup tight ends that get tackled for 3-yard gains. Sorry, Eli Manning, it's Daniel Jones season. Alex Tanney, though, is the most interesting guy on this list. As we pull up the player card for Alex Tanney, in the first game against the New York Jets, I think that impression is a lasting impression. 14 of 19 for 190 yards and a touchdown was the veteran out of Monmouth. I think he is exactly what the New York Giants are looking for. The reason why I don't have Kyle Lauletta making the team is because Kyle Lauletta, not for nothing, is still a young guy. The last 3 quarterbacks the New York Giants have drafted have been Senior Bowl impactful players or MVPs. Davis Webb, Kyle Lauletta, now Daniel Jones. Kyle Lauletta on the sideline cannot really groom Daniel Jones into being a professional quarterback because he's still a young guy in the league. That's why Alex Tanney could be the veteran presence that could show the ropes because, not for nothing, you need an OG to show you the ropes. And that's what I think Alex Tanney has been in the league for a while, can show a guy like Daniel Jones. I want you guys to weigh in with some options. Type E for Eli Manning if you think he's going to be the starter for week 1 for the New York Giants, or type D for Daniel Jones if you think he's going to be the starter for the New York Giants. Moving on over, I got 4 running backs for the New York Giants making the roster. The projected running back depth chart reads as Saquon Barkley, Wayne Gallman, Paul Perkins, and Rod Smith. Look, obviously, it's going to come down to Saquon Barkley. The entire key to success for the New York Giants this year is going to be Saquon Barkley. The guy was the number 2 overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, validated were the New York Giants with that pick, with him winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think, personally, and I know I'm a Giants fan, but I think he's the most talented and the best running back in the National Football League already. If you consider how bad the offensive line was last year for him, a quarterback that's completely inept throwing the ball downfield, he faced a lot of 7, 8, and 9-man boxes last year, and he was still productive. The Giants won't win this year, folks, if Saquon Barkley does not have sensational games. And Wayne Gallman has done enough, the former Clemson Tiger, to be the backup to spell Saquon Barkley. And look, all these guys that are backups to Saquon Barkley, we need Saquon Barkley close to 400 total touches this year, or else the Giants are going to be in deep, deep trouble. Wide receiver, I had the Giants getting 6 guys to make this roster. Sterling Shepard, Cody Latimer, Benny Fowler, Golden Tate, TJ Jones, and Reggie White Jr. It's important to note that there is a suspension. That's why the rankings look like this. My wide receiver 1 is Sterling Shepard. Cody Latimer, Benny Fowler at wide receiver 3. TJ Jones wide receiver 4, and Reggie White Jr., the fan favorite of the New York Giants, at wide receiver 5. Very important to note, Golden Tate is going to be out until week 5 against the Minnesota Vikings. Golden Tate also is going to miss games against the Cowboys, the Bills, the Bucks, and the Washington Redskins. Golden Tate, in his 8-year career, has not played less than 15 games. So this is going to be the first time in his career as a professional football player that he's not going to play 15 games. So this is a guy that's also very durable. But no Golden Tate. Violated a PED suspension. The appeal was held up. He's going to have to sit down. Bedtime for one Golden Tate. But I think an interesting name they need to monitor, Benny Fowler. Benny Fowler in the preseason, 2 catches in every single game that he played, was able to show versatility both short and long range catching passes, 2 touchdowns in 3 games, and also seems to have good chemistry with both Daniel Jones at the helm and Eli Manning, which is a good thing because a lot of times quarterbacks have their guy, and then when their guy is not in there, they don't do as well as wide receivers. So we have the suspension. We have the depth chart. I want you guys to weigh in. Who's going to step up in the absence of Golden Tate with the suspension? Is it going to be Sterling Shepard? Is it going to be some of these new guys? Is it going to be a fan favorite like Reggie White? Is Latimer or Fowler going to be that guy? My answer is a perfect segue into the next positional unit for the Giants, and it is the tight end position. And for the Giants to be successful without Golden Tate, especially in that first month of the season, I need Evan Engram, the starting tight end for the New York Giants, to beat that guy. Rhett Ellison, Scott Simonson, and CJ Conrad are rounding out the 4 tight ends that the New York Giants are going to keep. But most importantly, the key guy from a passing game standpoint is going to be Evan Engram. Rookie season stepped up with all these injuries to the New York Giants. The term that we've used in the past is cluster injuries, and that's exactly what happened to the New York Giants. The New York Giants that year, Evan Ingram's rookie season, the former first-round pick out of Ole Miss, the tight end, hybrid tight end, sort of fits that Ertz, Kittle style of tight end, a guy that could be split out wide as a wide receiver, and you have to respect them, or a guy that could come in and bang with some of those big bodies down there. But he had a really, really productive year his rookie season. But a lot of those numbers were kind of inflated because of all these injuries. Eli Manning had to force feed the ball to the only competent weapon that he had downfield, and that was Evan Engram. The hybrid tight end needs to take the next step and put himself in the discussion with the Zach Ertzes, the George Kittles of the world for the Giants to be really successful, and especially to fill the void of one Golden Tate. The most important positional unit for every single football team, in particular the New York Giants, is the offensive line. The starting offensive line that I have is Nate Solder, Will Hernandez, John Halapio, Kevin Zeitler, and Mike Remmers. And then I also have Chad Slade, Spencer Pulley, Nick Gates, and journeyman Chad Wheeler making the roster. Look, you need to have chemistry with your offensive line. Last year they addressed it by getting left tackle, guard, and center solidified. They get the trade from Cleveland for Odell Beckham Jr. They bring in Kevin Zeitler, who was a big signing for the Cleveland Browns a couple of years ago in free agency from the Cincinnati Bengals, and Mike Remmers, who spent time in Minnesota with Pat Shurmur. So that unit needs to stay healthy. That unit has played fairly well, considering how bad the offensive line has been for the New York Giants in recent memory. They played fairly well. The other guys, if you step in for a couple of plays here and there, it's fine. One thing that has been very positive for the New York Giants is their bad game offensive line-wise was against the Cincinnati Bengals. But the Cincinnati Bengals, their defensive line is the biggest strength of their team. So it's very telling that they were able to hold their own despite struggling. It wasn't as ugly as it's gotten in the past. So rate the Giants offensive line for me, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. How do you think the New York Giants offensive line is going to look going into the regular season? I'm going to put it at a 7. I know it might seem a little high, and I'm a little crazy with some of these rankings and these ratings that I'm giving out. But for as bad as it's been in the past, I like what I'm seeing from the New York Giants offensive line. Something I haven't said since 2011. Moving on over to the other side of the football field. The defensive line, the other unit. Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Tomlinson, BJ Hill, Olsen Pierre, RJ McIntosh, and Chris Slayton I have making the roster. The way I have this set up, at left defensive end, the first round pick, 17th overall, Dexter Lawrence out of Clemson. Then at nose tackle, I have Dalvin Tomlinson and BJ Hill at the other defensive end. Remember, the Giants play a 3-4 defense, so these edge rushers on the defensive line are more hybrid outside linebackers, which we'll get to in a little bit. The backups are going to be Pierre, Slayton, and McIntosh are those guys. The caveat that I'm mentioning is that the Giants use Carter, Golden, and Jimenez as edge rushers. Though they are not listed on the defensive line in this depth chart, these are guys that we'll get to in just a little bit. Linebacker, Alec Ogletree, Tay Davis, Ryan Conley, and Nate Stupar are going to be the inside linebackers for the New York Giants that I have making the depth chart. Obviously, the starters that we have for the linebacker position is going to be Alec Ogletree, rounded off by Tay Davis, Ryan Conley, and Nate Stupar as the guys that are going to be backing up Alec Ogletree. And not for nothing, we need Alec Ogletree to step up, because 2018 was a very, very subpar year. For a guy who's making a lot of money at his position, we need a bounce back year, because 2019 was not good. Poor intro to the New York Giants fan base, because this is a guy with the Rams who I personally thought stood out. Obviously, we know about Donald. We knew about Jenkins when he was there too. But Alec Ogletree was a guy that I thought was a very impactful player, was always around the ball, and that's something I look for a linebacker. You need to be around the ball. It means that you're making the right reads and the right keys on offensive players to put you in a position to succeed. And he needs to be the captain of that defense, the anchor of that defense in the middle. You know, back in 2016, he had his career year. He played all 16 games, something he didn't do with the Giants last year. Had 136 tackles, over 100 solo tackles. So this is something that he needs to do, because with the New York Giants last year, he only had 58 solo tackles. So we need Alec Ogletree to step up and be that veteran presence in the middle, because there are a lot of young guys on this defense for the New York Giants. The outside linebackers that are going to make this team: Marcus Golden, Lorenzo Carter, Kareem Martin, and O'Shane Jimenez. The one thing I know is that the Giants defense, with these hybrid pass rushers, those guys that stand up as opposed to going down on a 3 technique and putting their hand on the ground and rushing the passer, they're going to need Ogletree, obviously, in the middle, but they're going to need Lorenzo Carter, Kareem Martin on the outside. That's what I think is going to start. Marcus Golden, even with his time with the Cardinals, was a guy who was really a package kind of player, right? He was a specialist. Third downs, he came in and made an impact. That one year where the Cardinals went deep into the playoffs, where Bruce Arians and Carson Palmer at the helm, he was a guy that was making plays seemingly every single week. He made an impactful play, and it was on passing downs. That's where I think you're going to see the biggest impact from Marcus Golden. The cornerback position, it seems like all the videos that we've made for the Giants support as of late has been who's going to be the corner opposite of Janoris Jenkins. Jenkins is going to make the roster, obviously the number 1 corner on the depth chart. Then we got DeAndre Baker, Grant Haley, Corey Ballantyne, and Sam Beal. Sam Beal, this guy just got to stay healthy. But the most important thing that I need you guys to weigh in on is, who do you think, after everything that you've seen, is going to be the corner that's going to be opposite of Janoris Jenkins? It's been the biggest talking point, because the Giants gave away Eli Apple last year midseason, and that guy ended up playing in an NFC title game, paired up with his former teammate at Ohio State, Latimer. It seemed like Eli Apple found his groove in New Orleans. So they're going to need someone to replace him and that second cornerback position. I personally think, because of the injury to DeAndre Baker in the preseason, and he missed a lot of reps, I think the pick is going to be, from me, Corey Ballantyne. That dude has balled out in the preseason, has had a tremendous story from his draft day incident where his best friend got shot and killed, to him now making plays in the preseason. I would go with Corey Ballantyne. Weigh in, who do you think is going to be the starting quarterback opposite of Janoris Jenkins? The secondary is rounded out with the safety position. 5 players are making the safety positions: Antoine Bethea, Jabril Peppers, Michael Thomas. No, I wish it was the Michael Thomas from the Saints. Julian Love and Sean Chandler. Notable cuts at safety: Cameron Moore, he's suspended, and Kenny Ladler. I got the Giants keeping 5 safeties, and it seems like it's a veteran-based secondary. Janoris Jenkins has been around the block. Antoine Bethea, going back to his time with the Colts, and Peyton Manning, he's been around the block. And you need Jabril Peppers to step up, because he's not looked good in the preseason. He's always around the ball, but it's still a sour taste that he left in my mouth, giving up that big touchdown to CJ Uzoma a couple of weeks ago. So that's rounding off the safeties. And of course, the specialists, because kickers and punters are football players too. Very short list here. Riley Dixon is going to be the punter for the New York Giants. Aldrick Rosas was a Pro Bowler last year. He's going to continue to have that position. And Zach Diassi, fun fact, the longest tenured New York Giant not named Eli Manning. So there you have it, guys. The 53-man roster for the New York Giants going into 2019. It's at The Lamb Show on all social media outlets. And we'll catch you guys next time on the Giants Report here on Chat Sports TV.